To express a fraction as a decimal number, we simply divide the numerator by denominator. In question A, it's 4 divided by 8, and that's a half, or 0.5 in decimal form. For question B, we would have to divide 3 by 9. 3 divided by 9 equals 0.3, where 3 repeats itself. So the way we would write it down is 0.3 with a little line on top. That indicates that it means 0.33333 and so forth. Question C, we have 5 divided by 20. So again, you would divide the numerator by the denominator, and that's 5 divided by 20 equals 0.25. Here we have to change a mixed number into an improper fraction. So the way we do it, we multiply 3 by the denominator, and then we add the 2, and the denominator will stay the same. So the denominator is 9, and in the numerator we have 3 times 9 plus 2, and that equals 3 times 9 is 27. 27 plus 2 equals 29 ninths. So this number is equivalent with this number. They are just expressed differently. Here we have a mixed number, and here we have improper fraction. Question B. Similarly, the denominator stays the same. We are going to multiply 6 times 4 plus 1, and that equals 24 plus 1, so 25 fourths. Question C, we have denominator of 8, 1 times 8 plus 7, and that equals 15 eighths. The way you can check yourself is try to change it back to a mixed number. So think, how many times 8 fits into 15? That's once. And how much is left over? Well, if I subtract 8 from 15, I have 7/8 left. Here we have to change an improper fraction to a mixed number. So we're going to do the opposite from previous question. We're going to figure out how many times 3 fits into 19 fully, and that is 6, because 6 times 3 is 18. So if I take the 18 away from 19, I have 1 left. So the answer is 6 1/3. Question B, how many times 5 fits fully into 28? 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25, so I have 3/5 as well. Question C, how many times 9 fits into 1/13? We can use the calculator. 1/13 divided by 9 is 12, and let's figure out how much exactly is 12 times 9. 12 times 9 is 108. So 12. And now what's 1/13 take away 108? That leaves us with 5/9. So 12 5/9 is the same number as 113 over 9. They're just expressed differently. Here we have a mixed number, and here we have an improper fraction. Here we have to reduce the fraction to lowest terms. In order to do that, you have to find the greatest common factor between numerator and denominator. There are a couple ways to do that, and one is to find all the factors for both numbers and then see which one's the greatest common one. For 12, factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. For 22, 1, 2, 11, and 22. So the only common ones are 1 and 2, so the greatest common factor is 2. Once you have decided on greatest common factor, you divide both numerator and denominator by the same greatest common factor. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 22 divided by 2 is 11. So 12 over 22 in lowest terms equals to 6 over 11. Let's try the next one, 24 over 32. Some of you will right away see that both numbers divide by 8. If you can't decide that right away, then you can use this method where you find the factors first and then see which one's the greatest common. Or you can also go step by step. You can right away decide that both of them divide by 2, so start with dividing by 2. 24 divided by 2 and 32 divided by 2. Now we have 12 for the numerator and 16 in the denominator. Both numbers divide by 4. Let's try that. So 12 divides by 4 and 16 divides by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3 and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So we have 3/4 and these two numbers don't divide any further. So 24 over 32 equals to 3/4 when we reduce it to lowest terms. 12/30. First we have to decide what is the greatest common factor. And for 12/30, the greatest common factor is 6, because 12 divides by 6 and 30 also divides by 6. So 12 we will divide by 6, and whatever we do to numerator we have to do to the denominator as well. 12 divided by 6 is 2, and 30 divided by 6 equals 5. So 12/30 in lowest terms equals to 2/5. In this question we have to add or subtract fractions. For question A we have 2/9 plus 5/9, and we know that that equals 2 plus 5 in the numerator over 9 equals 7/9. So in math, if the denominators are the same, the denominator remains the same and we add the numerators. Another way of thinking of this question is that if you had a pizza that's cut into 9 pieces, and here you have 2 out of those 9 pieces, and this means that you have 5 out of those 9 pieces, then if you combine 2 pieces and 5 pieces, you get 7 out of the 9 pieces. In other words, the denominators have to be same before you can add and figure out how much of a pizza do you have. For question B, we have the same denominator, 8, so we can add or subtract the numerators. 5 take away 1 over 8 equals 4 over 8. This is correct answer, but we are also asked to reduce our answer to the lowest terms. So here, what is the greatest common factor for 4 and for 8? Well, 4 divides by 4 and 8 also divides by 4. So we could divide both the top and the bottom, or numerator and the denominator, by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So the answer in lowest terms is 1/2. 4/8 and 1/2 are equivalent fractions. Here we have to subtract two fractions, 5/6, take away 5/12. As soon as we see that the denominators are not the same, we have a denominator of 6 for the first fraction and denominator of 12 for the second fraction. We know that we have to find a common denominator before we will be able to subtract the fractions. So in this case, we are looking for a number that divides by 6 and also divides by 12 evenly without a remainder. 12 divides by 6 and also 12 divides by itself. So our common denominator could be 12. Now our next question is, how can I turn 5/6 into a fraction with a denominator of 12? Well, I could multiply 6 by 2, so I will have to multiply 5 by 2 as well. And then we have 5/12 that already have a denominator of 12. Now that equals 10/12, take away 5/12. And once we have common denominator, we know that we can subtract numerators. That's 10 take away 5, and the denominator remains the same. 10 take away 5 is 5, so the answer is 5/12. 5 and 12 don't have a common factor, so the answer is already in lowest terms. For question D, we also have different denominators, so we know that we have to come up with a common denominator first. In order to think of the lowest common multiple between 7 and 4, you could think of all the multiples for 4 and all the multiples for 7, and then see which one is the lowest common. For 4, we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and so forth. For 7, we have 7, 14, 21, 28, and so forth, but we already found the lowest common multiple, 28. So now, to change 7 to 28 by multiplication, we would have to multiply it by 4. So we will multiply the fraction, both numerator and the denominator, by 4. To change the denominator 4 into 28, I would have to multiply by 7, both the top and the bottom. Whatever you do to the denominator has to be done to the numerator as well. Now that equals, we have 8 28ths plus 7 28ths. 8 plus 7 is 15 28ths. Here 15 and 28 don't have a common factor, so that is already, the answer is already in lowest terms.